$125 billion on a space laser that never fired, $7.9 billion on a stealth helicopter that never fought. These are 10 mind-blowing military projects abandoned after draining over $180 billion. Taking the number 10 spot is a French fighter jet built to rival America's F-15, yet doomed to remain a one-of-a-kind. Originating from France in the late 1970s, the Dassault Mirage 4000 was a privately funded heavy twin-engine multi-role fighter. Capable of speeds over Mach 2, it carried a large payload on multiple hardpoints and boasted advanced radar for long-range strikes. Designed for both air superiority and ground attack, it had the power, range, and agility to compete with the best of its time. The prototype first flew in 1979, impressing test pilots and generating excitement among aviation circles. But the French Air Force chose the smaller, more affordable Mirage 2000, leaving no domestic orders. Despite aggressive marketing, no foreign buyers emerged due to high costs and strong competition. By the 1980s, the program was shelved, and the sole prototype was scrapped in the 1990s. Its cancellation left France's fighter ambitions resting on lighter designs, setting the stage for other nations to take the lead in heavy fighter innovation. Landing at number 9 is a Russian fifth-generation fighter that barely made it off the ground before being grounded forever. Originating from Russia in the late Soviet era, the McCoyen Project 1.44 was part of the MFI program to counter America's F-22 Raptor. It was designed for supercruise, advanced stealth shaping, supermaneuverability, and long-range combat. With a Delta Canard layout, powerful engines, and internal weapons bays, it aimed to give Russia an air superiority fighter that could dominate in both speed and agility. But after the collapse of the Soviet Union, funding all but disappeared. By the time money returned, Sukhoi's PAKFA program had overtaken it, and the 1.44's technology was already falling behind. Only one prototype was completed, making its first and only flight in February 2000, before the program was canceled. For Russia, it was a costly symbol of what could have been, and as it faded, the next project on our list would sink billions without ever touching combat waters. Coming in at number 8 is a stealth submarine that was supposed to make Navy SEALs even deadlier, but ended up sinking in flames. Literally. Originating from the USA in the 1990s, the Advanced SEAL Delivery System was a battery-powered mini-sub designed to transport 8 to 16 SEALs on covert missions far from shore. Deployable from specially modified Ohio-class submarines, it had a range of over 100 nautical miles and was built for near-silent underwater travel. On paper, it was perfect for inserting special forces undetected. In reality, it suffered noisy propulsion, battery overheating, and endless reliability problems. The final blow came in 2008, when a fire destroyed the only prototype, adding millions more in losses to an already expensive project. Officially canceled in 2006 after $2 billion spent, the ASDS was eventually replaced by the Dry Combat Submersible. But while this was a disaster below the waves, the next project would try, and fail, to dominate the battlefield from above. At number 7 is an American artillery system that promised unmatched firepower, but fell victim to its own size. Originating from the USA in the late Cold War era, the XM201 Crusader was built to replace the M109 Paladin and deliver rapid, precise fire support to armored units. It featured a fully automated loading system, GPS targeting, and the ability to fire 10 to 12 rounds per minute with extreme accuracy. Its advanced cooling system allowed for sustained bombardments without overheating, making it a game-changer for long engagements. However, at over 40 tons, it was far too heavy for quick deployment by air or sea. Military doctrine had shifted toward lighter, more mobile artillery, leaving Crusader out of place. Despite $2.2 billion spent on research and development and a projected $11 billion total program cost, it was canceled in 2002 before entering service. That decision cleared the way for other artillery innovations, and for our next contender, a stealth helicopter, to take the stage. At number 6 is the Attack-class submarine program, a project that was set to give Australia one of the most advanced diesel-electric submarine fleets on the planet. Designed by France's naval group, these subs promised unmatched stealth, long-range endurance, and cutting-edge combat systems to replace the aging Collins class. They were planned to operate deep in the Pacific and Indian Oceans, carrying modern torpedoes and sensors while running almost silently underwater. The project included technology transfer from France and domestic construction in Australia, making it the country's largest defense contract ever, with a staggering $65 billion projected cost. But from the start, the program was plagued by delays, escalating costs, and political tensions. By 2021, after spending $2.4 billion without laying down a single keel, Australia made a strategic shift, scrapping the plan in favor of nuclear-powered submarines through the AUKUS alliance. The decision ended the French deal abruptly, sparking a major diplomatic fallout and marking one of the most expensive cancellations in military history. Coming in at number 5 is the Nimrod MR4, Britain's ambitious attempt to turn a Cold War classic into a 21st century maritime powerhouse. This maritime patrol and attack aircraft was designed for long missions over vast oceans, hunting submarines and tracking surface ships. Built in the United Kingdom, it featured upgraded avionics for precision navigation, 4 new fuel-efficient Rolls-Royce BR710 engines, and an extended range to patrol the North Atlantic without refueling. It carried advanced anti-submarine sensors, radar systems, and surveillance gear that could detect threats far below the waves. But years of delays and complex modifications to old Nimrod MR2 airframes created massive problems, with mismatched parts and costly redesigns pushing the budget to over $4.25 billion. By the time it was ready, the program had become one of the UK's most expensive defense failures. In 2010, the government cancelled it completely, and nearly complete aircraft were cut up for scrap before they ever flew operational missions, leaving the UK without a dedicated maritime patrol aircraft for years. Flying into number 4 is an American stealth helicopter that was years ahead of its time but never saw a single battle. Originating from the USA in the 1980s, the RAH66 Comanche was designed as a stealth reconnaissance and light attack helicopter to replace the OH-58 Kiowa. It featured a radar-evading fuselage made from composite materials, a shrouded tail rotor for quiet operation, internal weapons bays, and an advanced sensor suite for night and all-weather missions. The Comanche was meant to slip deep behind enemy lines, detect threats, and strike without being seen. However, it became heavier and more expensive during development, while military needs shifted toward drones for reconnaissance. By the early 2000s, the Army had spent $7.9 billion, but only 2 prototypes existed. In 2004, the program was canceled. For many aviation enthusiasts, it remains one of the most advanced helicopters never to serve, sharing the same fate as the next project, which tried to put a powerful laser in the sky. Taking the number 3 spot is a flying missile defense system that sounded like science fiction, but fell victim to reality. Originating from the USA in the early 2000s, the YAL-1 Airborne laser was a modified Boeing 747 fitted with a chemical oxygen iodine laser. Its mission was to shoot down ballistic missiles during their boost phase before they could release multiple warheads. The aircraft carried advanced beam control systems, targeting sensors, and a powerful laser delivering concentrated energy to targets miles away. While it destroyed test missiles, the operational range was short, requiring it to fly dangerously close to enemy territory. Handling the hazardous chemical fuel also created major logistical problems. Costs reached between $5.3 and $11 billion before the project was canceled in 2011. The YAL-1 now rests in storage, as the U.S. military moved on to its most ambitious modernization program yet. Coming in at number 2 is a program that tried to reinvent the entire U.S. Army for the 21st century, but collapsed under its own ambition. Originating from the USA in the early 2000s, Future Combat Systems was a modernization program integrating manned and unmanned vehicles, advanced communications, and lightweight tanks into one digital battlefield. It promised faster deployment, greater situational awareness, and precision strikes through seamless data between units. The program included robotic ground vehicles, drones, and satellite-linked command systems, aiming to replace heavy Cold War-era platforms with more agile forces. But the technology was not ready, and costs ballooned to between $20 and $30 billion. It was also poorly suited to the counterinsurgency wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, where lighter, simpler vehicles performed better. In 2009, the program was canceled, with some technologies salvaged for other projects. This was a staggering loss, yet the top spot on our list overshadows even this in cost and ambition. Finally, at number 1, we have the most expensive abandoned military project in history, a space-based missile defense system that captured the world's imagination, but never left the drawing board. Originating from the USA in 1983, the Strategic Defense Initiative was proposed by President Ronald Reagan as a shield against Soviet nuclear missiles. The vision called for a network of orbital lasers, kinetic interceptors, and missile tracking satellites capable of shooting down intercontinental ballistic missiles before they reached U.S. soil. The projected cost was between $100 and $150 billion, with $30 to $40 billion already spent on research and prototypes. However, the technology needed to make it work did not exist at the time, and the massive price tag became impossible to justify. When the Cold War ended, urgency vanished, and the program was abandoned in the early 1990s without a single operational system. It remains a prime example of how even the boldest military dreams can consume fortunes without becoming reality. Billions gone, decades of planning erased. From rusting frigates that never touched the open sea to futuristic space lasers that never fired a single beam, these projects prove that even the strongest and wealthiest militaries can fail, and fail big. Behind every canceled program lies a story of politics, ambition, and technology colliding in ways no one expected. These aren't just abandoned machines. They're billion-dollar lessons in how dreams of dominance can turn into expensive dead ends. Subscribe, like, share, and comment which of these shocking failures stunned you the most, and stay tuned for our next deep military dive, where we uncover the secrets, strategies, and weapons shaping the wars of tomorrow.